Life story of composer Beethoven. Ludwig van Beethoven, one of the most renowned composers in the history of Western classical music, was born on December 17, 1770, in Bonn, Electorate of Cologne, now Germany. He came from a family of musicians, and his grandfather, Ludwig van Beethoven, was a respected musician and composer. Beethoven's early musical training began under the guidance of his father, Johann van Beethoven. Recognizing his son's talent, Johann sought to promote him as a child prodigy, similar to Mozart. Young Beethoven received instruction in piano and violin, and he quickly displayed exceptional skill and creativity in music. In 1787, at the age of 17, Beethoven traveled to Vienna, Austria, where he studied composition with renowned musicians like Joseph Haydn. During this time, he established himself as a pianist and composer, gaining recognition for his improvisational skills and his ability to captivate audiences with his performances. Around the turn of the 19th century, Beethoven began to experience the gradual onset of hearing loss, which would eventually lead to complete deafness. This affliction deeply affected him both personally and professionally, as he relied heavily on his hearing to compose and perform music. Despite this significant obstacle, Beethoven persevered and continued to create masterpieces that would transcend time. Beethoven's compositions spanned various genres, including symphonies, piano concertos, string quartets, sonatas, and choral works. He is often credited with bridging the gap between the classical and romantic periods in music. His compositions demonstrated a bold and innovative approach, characterized by emotional intensity, intricate musical structures, and a sense of individual expression. Some of Beethoven's most celebrated works include his 9 symphonies, with the Symphony No. His piano sonatas, such as the Moonlight Sonata Piano Sonata No. 23, also continue to captivate audiences with their depth and complexity. Beethoven's personal life was marked by numerous challenges and setbacks. He faced financial difficulties, health issues, and the burden of deafness, all of which took a toll on his well-being. Despite these hardships, his music continued to evolve, becoming more introspective and profound as he matured. Ludwig van Beethoven passed away on March 26, 1827, in Vienna at the age of 56. His legacy as a composer and musician endures to this day, and his contributions to the world of classical music remain unparalleled. Beethoven's impact on subsequent generations of composers and musicians cannot be overstated, as his works continue to inspire and influence artists around the world. Certainly, here are some additional details about Beethoven's life. Early life and education. Beethoven was born into a musical family. His father recognized his talent and began teaching him music at a young age. He studied under various composers and musicians in Bonn, including Christian Gottlieb Neef, who had a significant influence on his musical development. Debut as a composer. Beethoven's first public performance as a pianist and composer took place in 1795 in Vienna. He gained recognition for his improvisations and the unique style he brought to his compositions. Patronage and support. Beethoven received financial support and patronage from several noble families, including the von Breuning and von Lichnowsky families. They recognized his talent and provided him with financial stability, allowing him to dedicate himself fully to his musical pursuits. Compositional style. Beethoven's music evolved over his lifetime. In his early compositions, he followed the classical style of composers like Haydn and Mozart. However, he pushed the boundaries of traditional forms and structures, introducing more daring harmonies, complex rhythms, and emotional depth in his later works. Famous works alongside his symphonies and piano sonatas, Beethoven composed numerous other significant works. These include his violin concerto, Missa Solemnis, Fidelio, his only opera, his chamber music such as his string quartets, and his piano concertos. The Heiligenstadt Testament. In 1802, Beethoven wrote a letter known as the Heiligenstadt Testament. Addressed to his brothers, it revealed his struggles with his encroaching deafness. and his determination to overcome his personal hardships to fulfill his artistic destiny. Late-period Beethoven's compositions from his late period are considered some of his most profound and groundbreaking works. During this time, his deafness became almost complete, but he continued to compose remarkable pieces, such as the Diabelli Variations, the late string quartets, and the Ninth Symphony. Impact and influence. Beethoven's influence on subsequent composers cannot be overstated. He expanded the possibilities of musical expression, challenging conventions and paving the way for the Romantic era. His works continue to be studied, performed, and celebrated worldwide, inspiring generations of musicians and composers. Beethoven's life was a remarkable journey of triumph over adversity, as he transcended personal challenges to create music that resonates with audiences even today. Certainly, here are some more details about Beethoven's life. Personal relationships. Beethoven had a complex personal life. He was known to have had romantic relationships, although they were mostly unrequited. He had strong feelings for several women, including Giulietta Guicciardi, whom he dedicated his Moonlight Sonata to. One of his most famous love letters, the Immortal Beloved letter, remains a subject of speculation regarding the identity of the intended recipient. Teaching and mentorship. Beethoven had several students whom he mentored and taught music. Some of his notable students include Ferdinand Ries, Karl Czerny, and Archduke Rudolf of Austria. Beethoven was a demanding teacher who expected his students to strive for excellence. Political and social views. Beethoven was deeply influenced by the political and social climate of his time. He initially admired Napoleon Bonaparte but later became disillusioned when Napoleon declared himself emperor. Beethoven valued the ideals of freedom and equality, and his Symphony No. 3, also known as the Eroica, was initially dedicated to Napoleon before Beethoven changed his mind and rededicated it to the memory of a great man. Battle with illness and health. Throughout his life, Beethoven battled various health issues, in addition to his progressive hearing loss. He suffered from gastrointestinal problems, liver disease, and other ailments. Despite his declining health, he remained committed to his musical endeavors. Personality and temperament. Beethoven was known for his fiery and unpredictable temperament. He was fiercely independent, dedicated to his art, and had a strong sense of individualism. His explosive temperament often led to conflicts and strained relationships with patrons, colleagues, and even family members. Legacy and posthumous recognition. Beethoven's impact on music and culture is immeasurable. He is regarded as one of the greatest composers of all time. His compositions pushed the boundaries of classical music and laid the foundation for the Romantic era. Beethoven's music continues to be performed and admired worldwide, and his influence can be heard in the works of subsequent composers. These additional details shed further light on Beethoven's multifaceted life, showcasing the complexities of his personality, relationships, and artistic contributions. Certainly, here are some additional details about Beethoven's life. Composition challenges. Beethoven was known for his meticulous approach to composition. He would often go through numerous drafts and revisions before finalizing a piece. He was known to be highly critical of his own work, constantly striving for perfection. Piano virtuoso. Beethoven was not only a renowned composer but also an exceptional pianist. His piano playing was characterized by his powerful and expressive style, captivating audiences with his virtuosity and emotional depth. Symphony No. 9 and Ode to Joy. Beethoven's Symphony No. 9 in D minor, also known as the Choral Symphony, is considered a masterpiece and a landmark in music history. His symphony is notable for its inclusion of a choral finale, featuring the famous Ode to Joy, based on Friedrich Schiller's poem. It is a hymn to universal brotherhood and has become one of the most recognizable and cherished musical themes. Late string quartets. Beethoven's late string quartets are regarded as some of the most profound and innovative works in the string quartet repertoire. They showcase Beethoven's mastery of counterpoint, harmonic exploration, and unconventional forms, pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible in chamber music. Music and the French Revolution. Beethoven was influenced by the ideals of the French Revolution, which championed liberty, equality, and fraternity. His compositions often reflected these ideals, embodying a sense of freedom and individual expression. His music became a voice for social and political change during a turbulent period in Europe. Immense productivity. Beethoven's creative output was remarkable, considering the obstacles he faced. Despite his hearing loss and declining health, he composed a vast array of works, including 9 symphonies, 32 piano sonatas, 16 string quartets, 5 piano concertos, and numerous other chamber, vocal, and orchestral compositions. Posthumous discoveries. After Beethoven's death, several unfinished compositions and sketches were found among his papers. Some of these were reconstructed and completed by other composers or musicologists. One notable example is the completion of his Symphony No. 10 by musicologist Barry Cooper. Beethoven's influence on Romanticism. Beethoven's groundbreaking compositions and emotional depth had a profound impact on the Romantic movement in music. His works paved the way for composers who followed, such as Brahms, Wagner, and Tchaikovsky, who were inspired by his musical language and innovative approach. These additional details shed further light on Beethoven's remarkable achievements, highlighting his role as both a composer and performer, as well as the lasting impact of his music on subsequent generations. Certainly, here are some more details about Beethoven's life. Symphony No. 5. Beethoven's Symphony No. 5 in C minor is one of the most famous and widely recognized pieces of classical music. Its opening 4-note motif, often referred to as fate knocking at the door, is instantly recognizable. The symphony is known for its dramatic and powerful expression, showcasing Beethoven's mastery of orchestration and thematic development. Music during Napoleonic Wars. Beethoven lived during a turbulent period in European history, marked by the Napoleonic Wars. His music was often influenced by the political and social climate of the time. For instance, his Symphony No. 3, initially dedicated to Napoleon, reflected his belief in the ideals of the French Revolution. However, when Napoleon declared himself emperor, Beethoven removed the dedication in anger. Patronage of Archduke Rudolf of Austria, an accomplished musician himself, became one of Beethoven's most significant patrons and supporters. He provided financial assistance to Beethoven and commissioned several works from him, including the Archduke Trio and the Hammerklavier Sonata. Frustrations with publishers. Beethoven faced numerous challenges when it came to publishing his works. He often struggled with publishers over issues of copyright, payment, and artistic control. This led him to rely on financial support from patrons and sell his compositions to publishers at less than ideal terms. Relationship with his nephew. Beethoven took guardianship of his nephew, Karl, after his brother's death. Their relationship was tumultuous, marked by conflicts and legal battles over custody. Beethoven had high expectations for Karl's musical talent, but their relationship strained under the weight of Beethoven's demanding personality and Karl's rebellion. Monumental symphonies. Beethoven's symphonies, particularly his 3rd, 5th, 6th, Pastoral, 7th, and 9th, pushed the boundaries of symphonic form and expression. These works expanded the traditional symphonic structure and showcased Beethoven's ability to convey a wide range of emotions and musical ideas. Deafness and composing. Despite his progressive hearing loss, Beethoven continued to compose, relying on his memory, internal hearing, and the vibrations of the piano to guide his compositions. His ability to compose groundbreaking music despite his deafness is a testament to his genius and determination. The Great Compositional Divide. Music historians often divide Beethoven's compositions into 3 periods: the early period up to 1802, the middle period 1803 to 1814, and the late period 1815 to 1827. Each period has distinct characteristics, reflecting Beethoven's artistic development and personal experiences during those years. These additional details provide further insight into Beethoven's life, including his musical achievements, his struggles with publishers and personal relationships, and the historical context in which he lived and composed. Certainly, here are some more details about Beethoven's life. Immersed in improvisation. Beethoven was known for his exceptional improvisational skills. He often amazed audiences with his ability to spontaneously create intricate and captivating musical passages on the piano. His improvisations were highly expressive and demonstrated his deep understanding of musical structure and harmony. Battle with depression. Beethoven experienced periods of profound sadness and depression throughout his life. In his personal correspondence, he frequently expressed feelings of despair, isolation, and thoughts of suicide. His struggles with his health, hearing loss, and personal relationships contributed to his emotional turmoil. Diagnosing Beethoven's hearing loss. While the exact cause of Beethoven's hearing loss remains uncertain, various theories have been proposed. Some suggest that his hearing loss was a result of a degenerative condition such as otosclerosis or Meniere's disease. Others believe that it could have been a result of lead poisoning from medications he took or his habit of immersing his head in cold water to combat headaches. Music and political movements. Beethoven's music often reflected his political ideals. During the era of the Congress of Vienna, a period of conservatism and restoration after the Napoleonic Wars, Beethoven's compositions maintained a sense of individualism and revolutionary spirit. He resisted conforming to the conservative tastes of the time, instead expressing his belief in the power of music as a force for change. Influence on future generations. Beethoven's impact extended far beyond his own lifetime. His innovative approach to composition and his ability to infuse music with deep emotion inspired countless composers who followed him. His influence can be seen in the works of Romantic composers such as Brahms, Wagner, and Mahler, as well as in the development of music throughout the 19th and 20th centuries. Beethoven's hair. A lock of Beethoven's hair, which was cut after his death, has played a significant role in understanding his health and possible causes of his hearing loss. In recent years, scientists have analyzed the hair to gain insights into his medical condition, including levels of lead and other elements. Monumental Ninth Symphony premiere. Beethoven's Symphony No. 9, with its inclusion of a choir in the final movement, was a groundbreaking work. Its premiere on May 7, 1824, at the Karntnerter Theater in Vienna was a major event. Beethoven, who was completely deaf by then, had to be turned around to see the enthusiastic applause of the audience at the end of the performance. Beethoven's influence on film. Beethoven's music has been featured extensively in films, enhancing dramatic and emotional moments. The opening motif of his Fifth Symphony, for example, has become synonymous with impending danger or suspense in popular culture. His compositions have been used in films such as A Clockwork Orange, Immortal Beloved, and The King's Speech, among many others. These additional details offer further insight into various aspects of Beethoven's life, including his improvisational skills, struggles with mental health, influence on future generations, and his impact on popular culture. Certainly, here are some more details about Beethoven's life. Love for nature. Beethoven had a deep love for nature, and it often served as a source of inspiration for his compositions. He would take long walks in the countryside, finding solace and creative stimulation in the beauty of the natural world. This appreciation for nature is evident in many of his works, such as the Pastoral Symphony and the Emperor Concerto. Famous pianist and performer. Beethoven was renowned as a pianist and frequently performed his own works in public concerts. He was known for his commanding stage presence, expressive playing, and ability to captivate audiences with his virtuosic performances. His piano improvisations were legendary and showcased his unique musical genius. Composition process. Beethoven's approach to composition was meticulous and painstaking. He would often spend significant amounts of time sketching and revising his musical ideas. He used notebooks filled with musical fragments, motifs, and ideas, which he would then develop and expand upon in his final compositions. Influence of opera. Beethoven drew inspiration from opera in his instrumental compositions. He incorporated operatic elements, such as dramatic narratives, expressive melodies, and emotional intensity, into his symphonies, concertos, and chamber music. This infusion of operatic qualities contributed to the dramatic and theatrical nature of his instrumental works. Musical innovations. Beethoven's music was characterized by his revolutionary spirit and innovative approach. He expanded the traditional forms of classical music and experimented with new harmonies, daring modulations, and unconventional structures. His exploration of chromaticism, dissonance, and rhythmic complexities challenged the musical conventions of his time. Dedication to artistic expression. Beethoven was deeply committed to the expressive power of music. He believed that music should convey profound human emotions and communicate directly with the listener's soul. His compositions often reflect a wide range of emotions, from triumph and exultation to melancholy and introspection. Lasting impact on music education. Beethoven's impact extends beyond his compositions. He played a pivotal role in shaping music education and pedagogy. His methods of teaching composition and piano were influential, and his compositions continue to serve as essential repertoire for aspiring musicians and students of classical music. Beethoven's final years. In the last years of his life, Beethoven faced increasing health challenges. His hearing loss had progressed to complete deafness, and he also suffered from other health issues. Despite these difficulties, he continued to compose, often communicating with others through written conversation books. These additional details shed further light on various aspects of Beethoven's life, including his love for nature, his dedication to artistic expression, his innovations in music, and his lasting influence on music education.